You're so cute. You are so cute. So as you may notice, this is not the Fern and Flock's YouTube channel. That was my previous channel that was an entire brand. But long story short is that brand was costing me money, but it wasn't making any money. So I decided to close it out. It wasn't an easy decision, but I knew that it wasn't going anywhere, so I had to just break up with it. But I believe this video has important context for what I'm going to be making videos about on this channel in the future. So I've decided to repost it with this little disclaimer, so just know that this is the old, there will be new, but this has important context for what's to come. But today's video is all about my journey in creating a one-of-a-kind piece for my sister. So I think it was last, maybe September-ish, that my sister started sending me all these different pictures of different crocheted cardigans that she liked, and they were all like that kind of checkerboard style, oversized with the big balloon sleeves, and I was like, I could definitely make something like that. I made something in the end, but the journey, if you will, was full of ups and downs, goods and bads. It was dramatic, but there was a lot of frustration, a lot of just figuring things out that could have gone better. But yeah, so in the end, she was very happy with it. I'm just gonna be honest with you, it was a struggle. So if you'd like to join me on this journey of making this checkerboard sweater, feel free to keep watching, and I will see you later on. So this is my design journal where I draw stuff up before I try making it, just to get the logistics and everything right. So if I go to the page for this is kind of the schematic I'm following. So I'm thinking that each of the front two panels is a 2x4 arrangement, and then the back will be a 4x4. And then the sleeves will be, I think I had them as 4x3. So those will each be 12 squares, I believe. So it is a snowy Sunday afternoon, and at this point I've finished most of the squares for my sister's sweater. So I think I'm just going to work on the rest of them. About 4 or so left, while watching some yarn tube. So let's get to it, and then we can start putting these together. Looking at the yarn that I have left, this is all that I have left of the green color. So I think I may just make an additional black square and just fill in with one additional black square, because I think I'm going to need all of this for making the last green checkered square, so just have to make a slight adjustment. So I finished the last green checker square, and this is all of the yarn that I had left. So I won this round of yarn chicken. So unfortunately the audio on this next clip got corrupted, so I will just explain in a voiceover what's happening here. So as you can see, my two checkerboard squares up there side by side, one is much larger than the other, and I'll tell you why is because I made these squares months apart from each other, so my gauge is much different. I really wish, looking back now, that I would have stopped and readjusted gauge as I went along, but you'll kind of see more on that later. So for now, different size squares. Enjoy. Good morning. So it is the next day now, and I just have this one last black square to work up. So then, once this is done, I can start laying out the panels. So let's finish this up quick. Okay, so now all of our squares are done, and I think I am going to give Tucker some attention and make a breakfast smoothie, and then I'll start getting the panels laid out. So I will see you shortly. So what I'm going to do first here before sewing anything together is just kind of lay out all of my panels, just to make sure I like the configuration of how they're gonna look all sewn together. So I have the back panel, the two front panels, and then each sleeve is gonna be a panel that I'll just sew together. So all in all, I have 5 panels that I need to figure out what to do with. So I'll put you on time lapse here to see what I come up with. We have some serious design interference going on here. Somebody heard something fall off the roof, which is just melting snow. So pets are needed immediately to ease the stress. So, to be continued. So, unfortunately, I think that I may have miscalculated the number of squares I was going to need for the sleeves. So I planned out all of the, so here's the back panel and the 2 front panels. But when I got to the sleeves, I realized that in my original drawings, I believe I had just the sleeve being constructed of 2 by 3 panel, and I think if you just sew a tube out of these 2 squares, that doesn't leave you a whole lot of room at the upper arm where it attaches to the body. So I just don't think that that's going to be wide enough, and I want to do at least a 3 by 3, but I don't have enough squares to finish the other sleeve with a 3 by 3. So I need 2 more squares. I am completely out of green, and I just have a shred left of the brown. I have white left and I have black left. Black is going to be what's used for all of the ribbing, and I don't want to run out of it as I'm working on the ribbing. So I'm not sure, I only need 2 more squares. So I'm not sure if I just try and squeeze out 1 more checkered of the brown. I don't know. I'll see how much of that yarn that I do actually have left. I don't know what to do. So this is how much I have left of my brown color. So I'm going to take one of the brown squares here that I had made recently and weigh it on the food scale. And I'm just gonna switch to grams here. So then if I figure out how much this is and divide by roughly half, that should be, if this is roughly half, which would be like 6 grams, I should be okay. So let's see how much this guy weighs. 7. I should be able to do it. I hope. So that covers one of the squares that I need. Since I can get by with that 1 checkered square of brown, I think I will just have to make another black one for the last one that I need to finish the other sleeve. So hopefully we don't run out when we get to the ribbing. I maybe just won't make it as thick as I had originally intended, and hope for the best. I think I will check back in with you when I get both of those last 2 squares done and have the final layout for all of my panels. Okay, so it is the following afternoon and all of my squares are done. I have laid them all out. I'll show you here. I've laid them all out in the order or the pattern that they're going to be seamed up in. This big square here is the back panel. These are both of the front panels, and these are my sleeves here. So what I'm going to do is try and use all of the little ends that I left on and sew this thing up. So wish me luck. In these next couple clips, I believe I forgot to turn off the TV in the background again, so please bear with me because I can't refilm this footage. So sorry about that, and thanks for sticking with it. Seamed up all the squares for one of the sleeve panels, and I think putting this up to my arm, I just think the arm is just gonna be too small. I don't know if you could see that, but it just barely meets at the top here. And my sister and I are pretty similar body types, so I don't think it's gonna be like wide enough. I think I'm gonna have to get some more yarn. Debating, do I get green or do I get brown? Either way, I found a listing on Amazon and it's going to be $9 per skein, but I think I'm just gonna do it because if I were to order from a craft store or drive to a craft store, I'm going to have to either spend money on gas to go and get it or spend money on shipping. I'd spend the extra couple dollars that I would spend on this skein from Amazon on gas. So really, it's kind of a wash. So I think I'm just gonna pay the $9 and get another skein, just one, to finish out this project. And because I'm only gonna get one color, I'm not gonna get the different colors that are in the sweater. So I'll likely have to rearrange the squares as well. Yeah, so I'll be back in a little while with an update once that yarn comes in. I realized during editing that I didn't record anything between the previous clip and jumping right back into laying out the squares after I made the additions with the new yarn that came in. So coming up next is me redoing the squares after getting that yarn in and making some additional ones. Got them all spaced out to where this is gonna work. So now all that's left is to sew them all up, which I'm not sure how long it's gonna take me. It could be a while. We will see you when these panels are sewn up. So I am to the point in this project where it's starting to feel quite tedious, and I have the urge to start a new project. So I'm really trying to stay focused, but there's other ideas that are always pinging around up here. So I'm just trying to get through the rest of this sewing so I can actually start crocheting up borders and ribbing and stuff. So here's to seaming. Good morning. So I'm thinking that today I should be able to finish seaming all of the squares together. So I might have a little try on for you to see a little later today. But first, this little fella, Tucker, where are you? Yeah. We're gonna get him out for a hike because he's got a lot of energy. So we're getting a little outside time first thing this morning. Good morning. So it has been a couple weeks since I started putting all of these squares together. It was getting kind of tedious, so I just kind of took it slow and went at my own pace, but now I'm finally almost ready to start putting the panels together. So I think that's what I'll do today. But it is actually going to be storming the rest of afternoon time. So I think what I'm going to do is go out this morning and do a bit of gardening and then work on this when I can no longer be outside. So gardening for a bit and I'll be back. Now that it's storming, I'm going to get started on seaming together the rest of these little panels. I'm probably not going to include any audio because the storm and the rain is quite loud on the windows. I will put the camera on and get started on seaming together the rest of these, and maybe we can do a little try on. So if you look at some of the checkerboard ones I made later, they did turn out a bit smaller, so I did what I could, and you can kind of see where it kind of dips in a little bit. I'm hoping that it's not noticeable once all of the panels are seamed together, but yeah, this is almost done. I just need to seam these 2 rows or 2 seams here, and then I don't know if I should be blocking these. I might just block them as individual panels versus a whole sweater. It's kind of what I'm thinking. I feel like it'll be easier that way. So I'm going to get to these and then we can have a block party. Right, buddy? Right? Cute. Oh no. This is the back panel here, and it looks like it is dry, so I am going to pull it off the mats here and then we can finally start seaming this thing together. So I've grabbed my phone, which has the picture of the layout on it and a handful of stitch markers. So I'm going to lay this thing out and pin it together with these. So then I can just get to it seaming away. So I'm gonna pull up that picture and get started. So I realized when laying out my panels that one of the front panels was not sewn up correctly. Like the pattern of the squares, I seamed the wrong side. I don't know how to explain it. So if you look at this, this is the correct pattern of the squares that I had, but this is the wrong side of the fabric. You can see the opposite side of the mattress seam. You can see ends that I've woven in. I debated just letting the wrong side show in the final piece, just to keep with the integrity of the design of the squares that I came up with. Because if I flip it where the correct side is facing up, then, you know, you have where the side seam will be green touching green and then black touching black. Technically brown and black also touching, but these are the checkerboard, so I don't think it'll be as big of a deal. But honestly, I struggled with it, and I don't think I can let the wrong side of a fabric show. I think the squares are just gonna have to be what they are, because obviously all the ends are woven in and everything, so I'm not taking this thing apart. That's just not gonna happen, and I don't have enough yarn to redo any of these squares. So I think what's gonna happen is I just let some of the colors touch and just sew this thing up and let it be what it is, because pros and cons, the cons outweigh the pros for letting the wrong side show. So there you have it. We're ready to seam now. Good morning. So I waited on this, seaming up this project to get a couple other things done. So now I'm ready to start putting this thing together and seeing what the final piece will kind of look like. So I will see you after that is done. So I've gotten the sleeves attached. I'm not completely done seaming everything, but it's seamed up enough that I can show you what it's going to look like. So here it is. These are definitely going to be some balloon sleeves. The body isn't quite as oversized as I thought it was going to be. so we'll see how it turns out. So after this try-on, I kept it on for a bit longer just to see how like it would wear, and I didn't like it. The body was not oversized enough compared to the sleeves especially, so it just felt like a weird mismatched kind of situation. And I decided ultimately to make a couple more squares. I had to scrape together every last little bit of yarn that I had. So yeah, I added those squares to the back panel and then reattached the sleeves to make the next kind of version of the sweater. Okay, so I have sewn in the extra panel in the back, which is this one right here. And I have pinned together all of the panels. So let's try it on again. I have a sneaking suspicion that the sleeves are now going to be way too long, but we'll see. I don't know. I don't think they're too long. I mean, maybe, but I feel like if I took off, hypothetically, the last square, they would be too short. Maybe if I was leaving the sleeve this long, it would be fine. I don't know. Am I gonna take off this last square? Am I gonna do it? Am I gonna do it? Oh, that would be really upsetting because then I would have all these extra squares and I could have used them. I feel like I have to take it off. Like, I still have to do the cuff yet. So, I mean, here's the end of the wrist, if you can see. And this panel goes beyond that, like it's on my hand. I think I was right. The sleeves are too long. The sleeves are too long. Challenging thing is the sleeve panels are seamed this way. Hopefully I can get this last panel off without too much trouble, but we'll see. I need to check. I'm not quite sure what to do. So the panels are seamed this way, so I can't just tear out a seam and get this last chunk off. This last chunk isn't gonna just come off. My best idea that I have right now is to cut each stitch holding these squares onto these ones and hope that I can just pick out any bits of yarn that were left from each individual seam. So I think that's what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna hope for the best. I'll go get my little snippers. So I think what I'm going to do is just start cutting these individual little stitches right along here and just see if I can start pulling them apart. Maybe I'll undo this bit here and see what happens. I think this is gonna work. So I was able to get the last row of squares off of the end of the sleeve with minimal damage. Just a little cutting, you know, it was fine. So I'm going to do the same on the other sleeve, and then we'll finally be able to start the ribbing. It's been a long road with this project. Not a lot of stuff has gone right. Or not a lot of stuff has gone easily, I guess, would be the right way to put it. So I'm gonna do that. And I think I may just stop it here with recording and see you in the final reveal, because you already know what's up. You already know what it's gonna look like, essentially, so I'm just going to cut to the final reveal and see what you think. So I'll see you then. So I have just finished weaving in all the ends on this project for my sister, and unexpectedly I'm going to be having dinner with her tonight, so I would love to get it to her, but it desperately needs to be washed first. Thanks a lot for all of your hair. So I'm going to wash it, and hopefully it'll be dry by the time dinner tonight is happening. So here goes nothing. So since I was meeting her for dinner that night, I wasn't able to record any of my own try-on video to wrap this up, but I did ask her to take a little video of, you know, herself showing it off a little bit. So here you go. I hope you enjoyed watching this thing come together. Thank you so much for watching as I struggled and persevered. Yeah, it was a lot, wasn't it? This video turned out to be a bit longer because of all of the struggling. I do hope to be posting more videos like this where I'm working through a process to make a completed design. Hopefully not all of them are full with as much stress and ripping out seams and such. So if you like this video, feel free to like and subscribe. Thank you again so much for spending time with me here on my channel. Again, thank you and have a great day.